All right, back in Zoho Analytics we go. Today, let's figure out how to connect Zoho CRM to Zoho Analytics. Now, if you haven't used Zoho CRM before, I highly recommend it. It comes with the Zoho One package, and it's actually really easy to customize and change to figure out everything you need for your specific needs and your company. So, jumping into figuring out how to connect it, once you have configured that, I'm going to go into my workspace here. And there are two ways that we'll be able to connect things or add a new data source. We can either go here to create up here in the top left-hand corner and do new table, import data, or I like getting in the habit of coming right over here to data sources. Just because this tells me all of my data sources at once. So I'm going to go ahead and hit data sources, and it gives me a list of all my current data sources that are connected. If we come right over here to the right hand side, just as it says, we're going to add a data source. Once I hit that, it's going to bring up a massive amount of connections, anything from flat files to our Zoho CRM, and it even goes into some more interesting ones. You can do Stripe, you can do accounting softwares, all sorts of different stuff. So it's an awesome connection. Using all the Zoho tools together is really powerful. Let's jump into Zoho CRM here and add our connection. Once this pops up, it is important to make sure that our selected organization is correct. So some of you might have multiple organizations that you're working with, multiple CRMs, and so I only have one. It makes it super easy, but just make sure you are connecting to the correct Zoho CRM, so you're not pulling someone else's data into another person's dashboard. You can see right here on this left-hand side, there are modules. And so just to show you an example of what a module is if you haven't used it before, I'm here in Zoho CRM, and so these are all the different modules across the top. I have not created any customized modules, so these are all just stock, what comes with Zoho CRM, and those are what you can see here. There are a ton already. These ones that are a little bit grayed out, leads, contacts, accounts, and deals, those are considered system modules. So when you're connecting Zoho Analytics with Zoho CRM, those are not optional. You have to bring those in, but you're going to want to, because those are going to be the main modules you use most likely. If you want to add another module, all you have to do is come down here and select which modules you want, unselect if you don't want them. For the most part, I don't care much about these notes. Do what's right for you and your company. If you want those, that's great. If not, keep them out. Once we select one of these modules, I'm going to stick with leads actually, we can see the fields over here on the right hand side. So right now it tells me 19 fields. Keep in mind that 19 is in blue, that these are also in blue. So once we check another one, you can see the number keeps going up. That is the number of fields that you're going to bring into Zoho Analytics. Once we click this, it's going to say we're bringing all 48 fields in. The nice thing about clicking this is that if someone adds another field into this leads module in the Zoho CRM, it is automatically going to be imported on the next data grab. Zoho calls it the refetch. On that next refetch, it's going to pull in all the new fields. So that's really nice when someone is developing on your Zoho CRM and you're still trying to create reports at the same time. You'll constantly have all the most updated fields put in there. Keep in mind, I guess one other thing, is that Zoho CRM and Zoho Analytics only share data every 3 hours. that is the fastest you can schedule it. So if you don't have all the fields selected, and someone develops another one, adds it in here, if you need to use that in a report, it's not going to be there until they ask, I guess. And when they ask, you have to add it in and then wait 3 hours. There's one little trick to push it a little bit faster, but for the most part, it's going to be 3 hours. The other thing I mention about this is that if you have all the fields selected, it's not going to cost you more for storage. Storage is counted and charged on how many rows you have and not how many columns. So if you just want to be safe and make sure you have all of the columns all the time, I suggest just hitting this fields button, adding everything, and then once you get into the actual data, you can hide columns if you want to. So I'm going to keep it there just in case I decide to develop something in the CRM and don't want to come back here and mess around with figuring out which one I added. The next step in this, and this one is pretty important, it says how often. So as I just mentioned, Zoho Analytics can only pull data from the CRM every 3 hours maximum. Here, I am currently in a trial account just for this demonstration purposes. So mine here says daily. That's as fast as I can go. So if it's daily, that's easy. I'm just going to put what time of day. And if it's not scheduled, then you're only going to import data that's active right now in the CRM and nothing going on forward. So I'd always keep it updating. In my experience with the multiple companies that I have run analytics and CRM for, is that you want to go as fast as you can, still keeping it within the necessary bounds. If people are only looking at information daily and you've got it going every single 3 hours, it's probably overkill. But if you've got people looking at it, a few times a day, you're going to want it to go faster so they have the most updated information possible. Last little bit right here in the how often section is right here, your time zone. This is really important actually, as I've found out using Zoho for a couple years now. Data pulls on the time zone. So if you schedule it for a different time zone than you're in, you're going to be all sorts of confused on why it's not updating when you set it to. And that's because your time zone's probably incorrect. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this. And I'm in Mountain Daylight Time, so I'm going to hit Mountain Daylight Time. Perfect. So now it's going to pull on my schedule, on my time. One other little side note. If you have this set, that is fantastic. Make sure you also go into your settings and set your Zoho Analytics account to your time zone. That can really make a big conflict if one of them's on Pacific time, for example, and you're on Eastern time. There's still going to be a big gap there. Last little thing on this screen is create default reports. So anytime you import something new from any of these sources, it's going to ask if you want default reports created. Zoho Analytics is really cool and good at generating reports by itself, but most of the time you are going to want to make your own custom reports based on what your stakeholder needs are. And so it's really a pain in the butt when these are created when I don't want them to, because then I have to go through the data sources and figure out which ones to delete and which ones I've actually created. So I just uncheck that, and then we are done there. I'm going to hit create, and you can see the magical little loading thing here. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Keep in mind that the more information you have in the CRM, the longer it's going to take. It's trying to pull in everything right now that I have. It shouldn't take too long for me since I haven't customized or really built anything out. Great. Okay, so this is just saying it's been successful, it's all connected. Perfect. I'm going to hit OK. And now we can see here's some other tables and reports I've connected. I'm going to close those up so you can see Zoho CRM. Here's all of our information we brought in. So everything here is either a system field that is automatically input when we connect analytics, and some of the other ones, which I believe tasks, I believe I clicked that one, that was also brought in. So now what we can do is, if you want to explore it, you can go ahead and just click in one. Mine are going to be blank for now. You can also go over here to this data tab. Right there. You can click on data and you can see a cool little layout of all the tables that came in for Zoho CRM. The other place you can find is up here in the Explorer. And this just brings it up into a different type of view. You can also come over here in the view by different things related, how they're related. If you have a ton of different charts, it's helpful. Last thing I want to check before we decide we're done, everything's in there correctly, is this. Now I see Zoho Analytics, perfect. All right, data source, multiple tables were brought in. It's still in its initial fetch. So that means not all of the information is in there yet. Once it is, it's going to say sync success. This is an awesome place in its data sources to come and check on how things are going. So if you notice information is missing from Zoho CRM, come right back here to the Data Sources tab and see what happened. You can actually click on it and see if it failed. It will say failed and give you a reason. So you can go about remedying all those problems. That is about it for connecting Zoho CRM with analytics. I hope you've learned something and are able to apply this and work with Zoho Analytics a little easier. See you in the next video.